50. I can just enter the amount of 50. Now, if I change this 2D wireframe view to become conceptual, this is the object. Okay, this is the object. Because of that, okay, because of the fundamental law of constructing a 3D object using AutoCAD is basically based on geometric drawing. Okay, that's why whatever geometric drawing that you need to do is you have to have like an enclosed geometric drawing. For example, you need to have like this line. For example, if you want to construct the 3D object based on this geometric drawing, make sure it's an enclosed line. What I mean by enclosed line is closed, right? It's like a very well connected line between each other. Okay. If not, for example, if you construct a line that is not a closed line, okay, when you do a press pull, it will not highlight it. Okay, it will not highlight it. You have to make sure that all the lines is an enclosed line. It's an enclosed line. Okay. I know even with the new version of AutoCAD, I believe in AutoCAD 2020 right now, even my version of AutoCAD, if you create this line, okay, it's not an enclosed line, but the line is like a, for example, it's really almost enclosed. Okay, it's not really closed, it's almost enclosed. Sometimes the AutoCAD can still detect it, and then it can still produce a 3D object. But remember, later on, you're going to have a problem with that. Okay, so the best thing is make sure all the lines are enclosed line. If not, okay, for example, if I have a line like this, okay, if I press pull here, okay, if I move my cursor, okay, my mouse, it will not highlight all the lines. But if you go to this individual line, of course, it will highlight it. Okay, but don't do this. Okay, if you click individual lines, okay, and then you put in the value, what they construct is not a solid object. Basically, it constructs like a wall, okay, like a wall based on this geometric line. Okay, if you change the view, it becomes like this. Okay, becomes like this. The same thing goes to, for example, okay, this is one of the mistakes that a lot of students still doing. Even though you have like an enclosed line like this, the enclosed geometry like this, okay, when you press pull here, okay, you can see that select object or bounded area. If you move your cursor in between all these lines, it's going to highlight all the lines. But you can also click on the line, right? If you click the individual line, what you do is basically you just construct a wall on that. Okay, if you change it by view to the conceptual, this is what it's gonna look like. It's not a solid object. In the middle is still like a hollow thing. Okay, it's like a hollow thing. It's not really a solid object. Okay, so basically that's the basic. Okay, that's the basic of a 3D modeling of constructing a 3D object using AutoCAD. Okay, and then there's a certain rules also that you need to follow. Okay, whenever you do a geometric drawing, okay, let me open a new drawing. When you do whatever geometric drawing that you're going to construct, when you want to build a 3D object, the geometric drawing must be drawn on the XY plane. Okay, on the XY plane. For example, if I construct like a geometric drawing like this, right? This geometric drawing actually has been drawn on this XY plane. If you rotate it, right? If you rotate your drawing, as you can see, this geometric drawing is basically right on the XY plane, okay? On the XY plane. So, if, for example, if I, based on this geometric drawing, I construct like a 3D object with a height of, for example, 5. Okay. So basically this is the object. Okay. If, for example, I want to draw something on this plane, right? On this plane. For example, I want to construct like a circle and produce a hole on this plane. Okay. Then I have to make sure that this plane is going to be my XY plane. Okay, right now it's not on the XY plane, right? My XY plane is on this plane here. So what you can do is, firstly, you have to move this compass here, this axis here. Okay, you click it, you click this axis, okay, and then you go to this origin and you drag it. Make sure it's attached to this plane, right? For example, in here, attached to this plane. Doesn't matter where is it, okay? For example, in here, okay? The best thing when you move it, when you want to attach to the plane is going to be highlighted. As you can see, all this line in here becomes blue, right? It's highlighted. That means I want to put this axis on this plane, okay? So, as you can see, this axis, right? And clearly, this is XY. So, my plane here is going to be my XY plane. Now, I can draw whatever geometry I want to do on this plane. Okay, for example, if I want to draw if I want to construct a hole on this 3D object, circular hole, then I can draw like a circle in here and I make a hole from this. So I go to this function of draw a circle here. Okay, for example, with a radius of 1. Okay, as you can see, when I draw this geometric drawing right now, this geometric drawing, this circle is going to be on this new XY plane that we already determined. As you can see here, if you rotate it, okay, it's right on that. Okay, so if I want to construct a hole from this circle, what I can do is I can go to this modeling ribbons, go to press pull, okay, and then I'm going to ask me select object or bounded area. I move my cursor, make sure it's selected this circle. I click it and then I just drag it to the back. As you can see, this is the construct a hole. Okay. Just using the function of press pull here. So, press pull, the function of press pull is when you have like a geometric drawing that don't have any 3D object in that, it will construct a 3D object. But when you select the function of press pull on the geometric drawing that has a 3D object in that, you're going to construct a hole. Okay. For example, if you have like this rectangle like this, right? If you click press pull, because there is no 3D object in here, if you use the function of press pull to select this geometric drawing, it will construct a 3D object. Okay, but if you have like for example a circle in here, so I need to change it. Cannot see. For example, if you have a circle in here, right? to create the function of press pull, you select the circle, because there's already a 3D object in here. If you select this geometric drawing, what the AutoCAD will do is it will construct a like a hole. That it will make a hole on this 3D object. Okay, that's the beauty of the function of press pull. It can be both ways. Okay, it can construct a 3D object and at the same time it can make a hole in that. Okay, so basically that's the function of that's the basic fundamentals of how do you construct a 3D object using AutoCAD. Okay, so let's go back to this example. Okay, right now, as you can see, right, my XY plane is in here. Okay, right. So what about if I want to draw something on this top plane in here? Top plane in here. Okay, if I go to this top plane, what I can do is if I change, if I rotate it, okay, like this, okay, the top plane is going to be, if you go to this cube in here, in this WCS, the top plane is going to be on here, right? This is the top plane, okay? If I want to draw something on this top plane, as you can see, the plane here is not an XY plane. So that if you do a geometric drawing, it's not going to be drawn on this plane, right? If you go back, if you rotate it back, right? If I want to construct something on this top plane, right? Or in here, this plane is not on the XY plane. Okay, so what you need to do if you want to do something on this plane is you need to change this plane from XZ plane to become an XY plane. So how do you do that? Okay, how do you do that? Let me go back to this home view. Okay, so if you want to change something, if you want to change one plane to become an XY plane so that you can construct geometric drawing, first of all, you need to choose the plane that you want to construct this geometric drawing. Okay, if I want to construct on this top plane, I go directly to this cube on your top right hand side. This is the plane that I want to change it to XY plane. So now go to this coordinates ribbons up here. Okay, there is a function called view. Okay, view. Okay, as you can see, it aligns the XY plane of the user coordinate system with the screen. Okay, you click it. Now automatically this plane will change to become the temporary XY plane. Okay, if you go back to this home view, as you can see now, this top view is my XY plane. So if I construct whatever geometric drawing up here, it will construct on this XY plane. Okay, so that, for example, if I want to construct a hole in here, circular hole, I can do that. Okay, this is the hole, this is the circle that I construct on the new XY plane that I already chosen. Okay, now that's the function, the hole that I already constructed on this object. Okay, so that's basically the basic fundamentals of how you construct a 3D object using AutoCAD. Okay, first you have to construct a geometric drawing or 2D drawing. Based on that, make sure that all the lines is well connected. Okay, it's an enclosed line. Okay, so that it will detect everything, and then you can use the function of press pull, or later on we have all the function up here, extrude, loft. We're gonna go one by one later on. Okay, and then just enter the amount of a height that you want to extrude the parts, then that's it. If you want to construct like a other geometry on other plane, then you need to change that plane, the orientation of that plane, to become your XY plane. Okay, the same thing, for example, if you want to do something on this plane here, okay, what you need to do is you need to move this axis, X, Y, Z axis, to be on this plane, and then you change this plane to become your XY plane. Okay, what you can do is you click this XYZ axis, click the origin and drag it. Okay, make sure it's right on the plane you already selected. Okay, click it. Okay, now make sure this plane is my XY plane. Okay, so if this plane is my XY plane, yeah, right now this plane is my XY plane. Now whatever geometric drawing that I'm going to draw is going to be on this right plane. Okay, like that. Okay, for example, if I construct the rectangle or square in here, see, that's why I prefer when I do a geometric drawing, I prefer it to be on the 2D wireframe. Well, it's too complicated right now. It's too messy. Okay. So, and one more thing that I want to emphasize in here is later on, the object that you're going to draw is going to be like not a simple object like this, right? Even for your mini project. Okay. So make it a practice. Okay. Later on, whatever, for example, if you want to create something, okay, 3D object. First of all, you need to create a geometric drawing, right? 2D geometric drawing. For example, if I use a line like this, okay. I know this line is going to be on my XY plane, right? It's right on my XY plane. Okay. Make it a practice. Right now, what you're creating is a individual lines, right? When your drawing becomes complicated later on, become very complex because you have all the paths and all the lines, okay? Make it a habit, okay? Make sure you join all these lines to become one line so that it's easier for you to use the principal function so that it can just detect one line instead of multiple lines, right? So how do you convert all these lines to become one line? The same function that we learned before, go to modify, go to what, join, right? And then select object, select all this line, press enter, right? Now all these line become one line. So that later on when you want to use the function of press pull or other function, it's easier for AutoCAD to detect it. Instead of it has to detect multiple lines, now it can concentrate on detecting just one line with one property. Okay? So basically that's how you construct a 3D object. Okay? It sounds very simple. I believe it's simple. Okay, it's very straightforward. Okay, you need to construct a 3D object based on geometric drawing, and then you have to remember that the geometric drawing you can only draw it on the XY plane. If you want to draw the geometric drawing on other plane, then make sure this plane becomes an XY plane first, and then you can draw your geometric drawing on that particular plane that you desire to. Okay, so basically that's the fundamentals of how to construct a geometric drawing. Okay, let's try some some exercise with let me stop sharing this because I want to share let's share my screen. It's easier, I believe. I believe I already provided this example or this exercise on Ulen, right? You can always go back to this, all the exercises that are provided in Ulen. Okay. For example, these exercises. Okay. How do you draw this object? Basically, it has all the dimensions and everything. Okay. So let's try this. For this particular example, okay, right? So we just gonna start with the basic one, right? Because in here we don't have like any curve. It's just like a very straightforward object. For this object, basically on the bottom part, it has like a rectangular base with the length of 55 times 50. So what you can do is first just draw, go to draw lines, switch on my auto mode, okay, line with the length of 55, right? And then width of 50, 55, 50, right? So basically this is the base of this object, okay? So what I did is I draw this basic geometric drawing for this base part of the object, okay, with the dimension of 55 times 50. Based on this, what I do is I go to modeling, I press the button of press pull, I select this object. Now I enter the amount of the height. The height is here is 10. The amount of the height with the amount of 10. Okay. So basically this is the bottom part of this object. Okay. If you want to see it clearly, then we can change the view from 2D wireframe to become conceptual. Okay, this is the bottom part here. Right? So change it back to 2D wireframe. I prefer when I'm working on any particular drawing, I use a 2D wireframe view. It's easier for you to look at all the points and lines instead of using the other types of view. Okay, so now we have this base part. Now we need to construct this square shaped boxes on top on here, right? So yeah, so how to draw this? How to construct this? First of all, I need to draw like a square here, 25 times 25 on this top plane here, right? So what I need to do is now I can move my axis here, okay, to be on this top plane here, right? On this top plane. Okay. Now I need to make sure my top plane is my XY plane. If I go to top here, now I can see this top plane is my XY plane. Then it should be okay. Okay. Now what I need to do is I need to construct the base geometry of this. Okay, 25 times 25. Square shape of 25 times 25. I go to draw, select line. From here, go here, 25. Here, 25. Go here, 25. Go here, 25. Okay. Based on this line, then I can go to modeling, select press pull. I choose this. I move my cursor, make sure it selects all these lines. Then I enter the amount of the height of 25. Okay. The same thing goes to here, right? Same thing goes to here. Now, for this part, I also need to construct the geometry drawing of the rectangle in here. Okay. So with the dimension of how much is it? This is 5, 25, 5, 30, 20 times 30. Okay. So go to draw line from here, going there, 30, 20, 30, 20. Okay. Now go to modeling, select press pull, and then I move my cursor so that it highlights all the line. Click it, and then I enter the amount of the height. It's going to be 5. Okay. So if you change your view, so basically this is the final object. All this. Okay. So this object, if you click it, look like this. Okay. It's like that. Okay. This is the end result. Okay. That's how you construct a 3D object in AutoCAD with the full dimension. Okay. I hope you get a clear picture of how we use this, how do we construct the 3D object using AutoCAD. Okay. The basic fundamental is still the same. Okay, you draw a geometric drawing, you extrude it, press pull it, so that you can construct. You enter the amount of the extrusion height, so that you can construct a 3D object. Okay, so let's try this example in here. Okay, let's try this example. Right now we have more curves, circles, like that. Okay, so for this, what you can do is you can just draw this basic drawings on the bottom here. It has the width of 2 times 3.5, right? And then it has like a semicircle with a radius of 1, and also the circle with the diameter of 1 in here. Okay, just draw this basic geometric drawing here. Okay, let's try it. Go to draw, line, switch on my auto mode. It's going to be from here to here with the amount of 2. Going there with the amount of 3.5. There 2, and there 3.5, right? So this is for this one. And then we can construct a circle in here with the radius of 1 and diameter of 1. The center of the circle is going to be the midpoint of this line. Okay, go to draw, circle. Okay, the midpoint is the midpoint here with the radius of 1, and also the diameter of 1, right? So now I can delete this, and also I can trim the bottom part. I can go to modify, trim, select object, enter, delete this bottom part. So it left me with this basic shape, the bottom part of this object. Okay. So based on here, what I can do is I can go to modeling, click press pull, select this object, make sure it highlights all the lines. I click it. Now I can just enter the amount, the height. What is the height? 0.5. 0.5. Okay. To see it clearly, change your view to construction. Okay, this is the bottom part here. Okay. Right? Simple as that. The geometry drawing, the function is the same that we learned before when we do a drafting annotation. Okay, it's the same. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to construct this part, right? So, in order for me to construct the geometric drawing of this part, this particular part, okay, so that I need to make sure the plane here that I want to construct the geometric drawing is going to be my XY plane. So what I need to do is I need to move my axis here. Okay, I need to move my axis here from here to here, right? So this is the plane that I want to draw it. On this left hand side plane, I click on this cube here, left. This is the plane that I want to draw this geometric drawing, right? So right now my plane is on my y exact plane. So I need to change this plane to become my xy plane. So what I can do is I go to this coordinates ribbons here, click the function of view. Now it changed this plane to become my xy plane. Okay. Okay. So now we just need to construct this geometry. Okay, what you can do is go to draw. For me, it's easier for me to use as 3D view to draw. Go to draw lines from here going up with the amount of 1 there with the amount of 2, 1, 2. This is my navigation bar. Oh, it's my navigation bar. Okay, basically that's the like a rectangular shape for this part, and then you can just draw like a circle, semicircle, and circle in here. Okay. Okay, then go to draw circle. Now the center of the circle is going to be the midpoint of this line with the radius of 1, and also circle with the diameter of 1, right? So based on this shape, I can just trim it first. Okay, trim. I don't want this bottom part and this part. And also I can delete this line, right? Like that. That's my geometric drawing for this particular section. Okay. After I'm done with my geometric drawing, what I can do is I can go to modeling, select press pull, move my cursor, make sure it detects it highlighted all the lines, click it, and then I enter the amount. What is the amount? 0.5. 0.5. If I want to say it clearly, then this is the part. All right. So for this part in here, it has basically the same dimension and properties like this one. What I can just simply do, I can just copy this section, this object, and move it to this other side. I don't need to draw it back. You can draw it back, but it's gonna consume more time. Okay, so it's better for you just to copy and drag it to the other side. I can go to modify, select where's copy, to show this copy, space copy. Oops. This is copy, align mirror. Which one is copy? Is it this one? Oh, this one. Copy. Copy. And then select my object. This is my object, my 3D object. After selecting my object, I press enter on my keyboard. Now specify base point. The procedure is still the same, like what we learned in a drafting annotation. Okay, so my base point is going to be this point. Okay, now my second point is going to be here, this point, right? Press enter after I'm done with it, right? So change my view to become a conceptual. So this is the final one. Okay. So after you're done with it, when you select it, you can see that you can select an individual 3D object in here. Basically, we create a 3 objects, right? It's not one particular object, okay? It's still considered as a 3 object. If you want to make it everything to become one object, what you can do is you can just simply go to the solid editing, and then you can press select solid union. Solid union means that if you have like a multiple solid or 3D object, you want to make it to become like a one property or one object, then you can use the function of solid editing, solid union. But my advice is don't do that until you finish with all your drawings. Once you do that, you cannot separate it back to become like individual object like before. Okay, unless you press undo. But later on, when you do a lot of steps or process, it's hard for you to keep undoing. Okay, so my advice is when you do a 3D object, when you do a drawing, particularly in 3D object, if you're not done with your drawing, please don't change it to become like a one individual object. It's going to be hard for you. Okay, if for example, if like in this particular object, if you want to like delete one of the object, you can still do it. For example, if I don't want this thing, I can just simply delete it, right? But if it already become one object, if you delete it, it's going to delete everything. Okay, that's exactly my point is. Okay, so if you're done with it, you want to make it to become like a one object, you can simply go to solid editing, choose solid union, and then you're going to ask your select object to select everything of the objects. Press enter on your keyboard. Now done. Now if you click this object, it will become like a one individual object. Okay. Okay. One thing that I want to highlight to you guys is this. Okay. Sometimes when you look at this, for example, if in this 3D drawing, right? Particularly when let me repeat this process again, okay? Oh, no, I don't want to repeat back. Let me like delete this line. Okay, this is also very important. This is the mistakes that most of the students still do, okay, until now. For example, if you want to construct this, like you want to construct this part of the object, right? You need to construct the geometric drawing of this, all the geometrical lines, right? Okay, so even though you see the line in here, right? You construct like, for example, the line start from here going up, right? Going up with the amount of 1, right? And then 2, going down 1, okay? You need to construct this line to make it an enclosed line as well. okay, even though you see this line, right, in your view, this is already a line, but in AutoCAD, this is not a line, okay? This is just the edge of the 3D object that we just constructed, right? It's not a line. So that means this particular geometric drawing is not an enclosed line. It just has three lines, this one, and this one, okay? This is not a line. So you have to make sure every time you do a geometric drawing, particularly when you have like multiple objects that already on your drawing, you have to make sure the geometric drawing is going to be an enclosed line, okay? So even though it looks like a line, basically this is not a line. This is just the edge of this object, the 3D object. This object, this is the edge of the object. There's no line. How do you want to make sure there's no line? Sometimes what I did is, when I want to construct like one particular geometric drawing on other plane, and I already have like a object in there, in the drawing, I can just simply hide the object that I already constructed, okay, so that it doesn't interfere with the process of me of constructing a new geometric drawing. Okay, what I can do is I can go to select this object, I right click on my keyboard, I can go to isolate, okay, isolate object. Oops, it doesn't isolate, it isolate the isolate like a, oh, this one, isolate object. Wait, why does it not isolate? Okay. This one, isolate and object isolation, isolate object. What's wrong with my command here? Why did I isolate the different one? Yeah. Hmm? Isolate object. It doesn't want to isolate. This is the problem with the AutoCAD I want to encounter right now. Isolate object and object isolation. Okay, or hide object. Object. Hide object. No, isolate object. Hide object. What I want to explain is I want to like explain it back. Okay. Right now I want to construct this like a geometric drawing, right? This line, right? This line, this line. But I have this object, 3D object in here. Okay. This 3D object is kind of like interfering with my process of do my additional interfere with the process of me constructing the other parts of the drawing, right? So what I can do is I can simply hide this part of the object first. Okay, I can go to click this object, go to isolate, hide this object. Okay, right now I hide everything black. I just want to hide this, right? Go to isolate, hide object. Okay, so I already hide the 3D object. What I left is this line, geometric line that I just constructed, and also this line, right? This line is basically the geometric drawing that I firstly constructed when I want to construct the bottom part of this object, right? Okay, so what I can do is now I can just simply draw without interfering with the view of the 3D object, right? It's easier for me. Okay, the function of hiding the object is very useful later on. Okay, later on when you have like a very complicated object that you want to draw, you're going to use the function of the hiding the object frequently. Please do that. Okay, please use that function well. Okay, so that now construct a circle with radius of 1 and also a circle with the meter with the radius of 0.5. Okay, can trim this part, enter. I don't want the bottom part. Okay. Exit, modify, trim. On this one, I don't want this one. I can delete this part. Right. So from here, you can just simply go to modeling, press pull, all this thing going there with a amount of 0.5. Okay. So if you see it from here, this is the object they already constructed. If you want to look at all the object, I go to isolate and object isolation, then we're going to retrieve whatever object that we already hid it before. So it is here. Okay. The function of hiding the object is very useful. Okay. You're going to use it frequently later. Then we're going to continue with the same function. Go to copy this object, press enter. Here, to change the view. Verify, copy this object from here to here. Okay, now I'm done. Okay, it's the final one. After you're done with everything, you can just simply go to solid editing, solid union, select object, select everything, press enter. Okay, now all of this thing become a one object. Okay, you can just play around with all the types of view that we are available here. For example, shaded view, right? If you use a shaded view, you can still see these white lines, right? This white line is not an object line. It's basically the 2D geometric drawing that we constructed. As you can see on this part, there is no white lines because we used the function of copy just now. We didn't construct any geometric drawing or 2D drawing. Okay. So what you can do if you want to make your drawing like a look more presentable, what you can do is you can just simply hide this object first, hide this 3D object, and then delete all the 2D lines. Okay, then just left your drawing with this 3D object. You can do is select this object, right click on your mouse, go to isolate, hide object. Okay, then you select this everything, all these 2D lines, delete it. Okay, you delete all the 2D lines. Now what you left is just put back to isolate and object isolation. Now what you left is all just a 3D object. There is no lines or 2D lines in there. All just the 3D object. Okay. So basically that's the basic fundamental of how you do a 3D object using AutoCAD. Okay. So let me go back to start sharing. Let me share back my AutoCAD. Okay. So basically that's the start for this 3D modeling function in AutoCAD. Okay. I believe that's what I want to explain in this class. Okay, later on, probably next week, we can go through all the modeling function in here. Like for example, If you look at this modeling ribbons up here, you have a box. Okay, use the function of box, you can simply create a box. Okay, and then there's cylinder, cone, sphere, pyramid, wedge, torus, and everything. Okay, you can construct all this basic shape of 3D object using the function here. Okay, I'm gonna explain it in the next class. Okay, and then we have like a, right now the modeling function that we use is just a press pull, right? This button here. We have like other function that we can use, for example, extrude, loft, revolve, sweep. Okay, I'm going to explain it also in the subsequent class. And also certain function on the solid editing, okay, and modify. Other than that, I believe in terms of drawing, the basic geometry drawing, we already learned it in our through drafting and annotation. Okay, so I think that's it for this class. Any question? Right now we have like a 56 students, okay, 56 including me. Any question? If there is no question, I'm gonna end the class here. Okay. We're gonna continue with our class the same day, same time next week. Okay. Uh, uh, I think that's all. Okay. Thank you so much for attending the class. Thank you so much for attending the class. Please take care of yourself. Okay, stay safe. Okay, don't go to the crowded area. Okay, there's a lot of COVID-19 cases right now. Okay, please stay safe. Okay, thank you so much. I'm gonna upload the recording video of this class uh, on YouTube, and I'm gonna provide the link on Ulearn. Okay, so that you can just revisit this lecture recording later on if you need to. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.